And
Okay.
this is when we transition ceremony. I thought this was when we transition. Well, my name is Chris Buddy. And it's my real pleasure and privilege to welcome you to our 74th Women's Transition Ceremony. There's a lot of reasons why tonight is special, and I'll talk about them in a second, but I want to first express my appreciation and gratitude for the participants who worked real hard to get the facility ready for today and to get the meal made for the alumni and their families. So can we thank our current participants? Really appreciate everybody's hard work on that. I want to thank our staff for their hard work to get ready for today. And then I want to thank there's like folks on each end of the continuum here that make up our Healing Transitions Village, and sometimes they're not visible to one another. So we've got volunteers that play a really important role in helping us have the doors stay open. And so we've got from our board of directors, Mick Quinlan here. So we're and just by show of hands, who was born after 2001? So it's weird, but like some people were born after we opened. And I mention that because we've got a couple volunteers here who've been helping since before we opened the men's campus. So Dr. Bob Bilbro, who is a founding director for our board, and his wife Carol are here tonight. Men's campus open due to their help, the courtyard at the men's, because of Carol's help. Bob's been volunteering in our clinic and getting docs to come out here. Has anybody been seen in the clinic here by a volunteer doc? Show of hands. All right, so Bob's been getting volunteers out here for over 20 years, both campuses. He's still showing up at the men's. And is the women's campus crowded?
Yeah.
Only a couple of people say yeah. Is there anybody in here that slept on a mat on the floor? Let me hear you slept on a mat on the floor. All right, so reason that you won't have to do that in the future. And the reason that we're gonna have more space, and you've seen the construction going on, is because Bob and Carol co-shared this $23.8 million capital. I said to them anything like this would have happened, they would have said, oh, we've got plans to go to watch paint dry, maybe. But they're here to show their support, and we're thrilled to have them here. We also have special guest Nancy Paul joining us from Lonnie and Carol Poole Family Foundation to learn more about what we do. And so I want to thank our guests for visitors. Got Braxton here. Braxton's doing a project for Wake County ABC Board. Wake County ABC Board has been a foundational supporter since our men's campus opened, using basically the money that many of you contributed to the system to help when you needed it. And that's really kind of one of our fundraising strategies. We tell people, you know, start drinking liquor and you're investing in our future and yours. I'm told that that's not the right thing to do. But anyways, we're grateful. They're wanting to raise awareness for the community about how ABC dollars go back to do good in the community, because a lot of people don't know that. So we've got Braxton and his team here helping to report. So that's that in the way of that. And then the other thing that's important is I can't tell you how excited I was to see who was going to be in the ceremony tonight. Because there's a lot of really important memories. We are coming up on the 3-year anniversary when we had to shut down, in essence. Basically, public health said you can't admit anyone else. And that was on March 25th, 2020. It's also a time for the staff who were here that you remember, like working without a few days off for a couple months. That started that stretch. Working into 2 in the morning. So just bringing back the fun memories. So what the staff did though, when they said, hey, you can't serve anyone, is they said, we'll run a detox off site. And they kept the doors open for people who needed to come in. And then June 15th, 2020, we were able to reopen at a reduced capacity. But we've got 3 women during the ceremony who were here during that time. And it's incredibly special to hear them and see them silver chip at the ceremony. They got their silver chip number and officially silver chip when they moved out, their approval, their peers, but they're here to celebrate tonight. And we're here to celebrate with them. And Madison in particular, like I celebrated. I had a recovery milestone in those first couple of months of COVID lockdown, and where I celebrated 30 years of recovery. And I usually celebrate that in my home group, but we were meeting on Zoom. It wasn't quite the same. And they had this really nice thing in Madison, took ceiling tiles and made a ceiling tile coin for me of 30 years of recovery. And I'm told she's done lots of generous and thoughtful things for other people similar to that, but I appreciate that. And then we've got 2 more women here that I'm just so excited to have with us, because much like we opened with the help of people coming from Louisville to help us in 2001 and 2006, we're helping with the Healing Place in New Hanover County. And so we're excited that we have Sandra and Jean that have gone down there. I was super excited about tonight and to have folks here. I've talked longer than I normally would. So at this point, I'm going to invite Tracy to come up.
Everyone, my name is Tracy Freeman. I am the Director of Recovery Services here at our women's campus and super shipper number 110. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us tonight to help us celebrate 5 ladies who have accomplished the great task of completing our long-term recovery program. In recognition of that accomplishment, these ladies will be receiving a medallion that reads on one side, HT or Healing Transitions of Raleigh. And on the other side, it says, I am responsible one day at a time, with alumni in the middle. This is not the end for these ladies, as the hard work has just begun. We all know that long-term recovery is absolutely a journey and it's not a destination. Before we get started with introducing our alumni tonight, I'm going to try to give as much as William Dickens does at the men's. I'm gonna try. I think I'm a little bit more reserved in here, but we'll see how this goes. So this is my ask of everyone sitting in here, community partners, alumni, recovery allies, all that kind of good stuff, to become a change maker. A change maker provides a very unique opportunity to financially support a man or a woman in getting into recovery. As you know, our services are free to the participant. However, there's a lot that goes into ensuring that participants have what they need to engage and stay in recovery. It costs $55 to provide 1 day of service to a man or woman seeking recovery. And becoming a change maker helps Healing Transitions carry out that mission of providing services when people need it. We have a table set up in the front lobby where you can do that tonight. So after the ceremony is over, I encourage you to go become a change maker, including you ladies. We know every little bit helps and every cent counts. So let's get to it, what we came here for, celebrating these 5 ladies. Our first alumni we would like to recognize is Ms. Charlene Wardenberg. Services through our non-medical detox on May 21st, 2019. She left after a few days and returned to our detox in October of 2019, where she stayed a few days before deciding to engage in our recovery program. Charlene entered the first portion of our program on October 4th and transitioned to CTR1 on November 14th. A few months later, she was discharged from the program due to an inappropriate relationship. Charlene was provided a pathway to re-engage in our program by completing a contract. She completed her contract and was able to re-engage with us on January 27th, 2020, which happened to be about a week after the first confirmed positive case of COVID-19 was announced in the United States. Charlene was with us with our organization when our organization was trying to navigate and balance safety for our participants, as well as ensuring that the doors remain open for those who desperately needed services. Charlene buckled down and stayed committed in our program amidst being on many lockdowns, mask wearing mandates, and COVID testing. Charlene was able to return to CTR1 on February 11th, 2020, and transition to CTR2 on July 29th. While in these portions of the program, Charlene was held accountable for attitudes and behaviors such as, I'm being nice, inconsideration, not being a sister's keeper, doing nothing, and entitlement. Her peers suggested writing some actions such as a 2-week positive affirmation log, a 30-day gratitude log, 500 words on fear, a 30-day yes ban, and a 30-day self-esteem. Charlene completed a service commitment in our planning room as a peer mentor and was able to transition out of our program as an alumni on December 10th, 2020. While engaged in our program, Charlene attended a total of 395 meetings and was engaged in our program a total of 422 days. Please help me welcome Healing Transitions alumni number 277, Charlene.
For 15 years, I let drugs and alcohol consume me. I lost my family and lost the privilege of being a mother to my sweetheart. I lost myself as a person and lost my sanity. My relationship with God was non-existent. Within those years, I had heard about a rehab called the Healing Place. I never thought it was a place for me and never thought that I was that bad off. I was in complete denial until one night I felt I had no reason to live. I had ruined everything. So that evening in May of 2019, God spoke to me and I decided to go to detox at Healing Transitions, along with my signature drinking game, my vodka and a water bottle. I stayed for almost 72 hours thinking only about alcohol. I left detox and that same night I was instantly drunk. For so many years, there was nothing I could do without drugs and alcohol. I knew I wanted to stop living like this, but I didn't know how to live without it. I was a danger to myself and others. Eventually, I had run out of options and found myself homeless. I was either sleeping on someone's couch or at motels. In the back of my mind, I knew this way of living was almost over. At that point, I called my sister and her husband and begged for a place to stay. They finally said yes, but under one condition: don't drink. Well, that of course didn't happen, and now I wasn't getting away with it. They told me I had to leave with no more support or go back to Healing Transitions again, and they would help me along the way. In a drunken state, I said I would go. So the next morning on October 1st of 2020, I arrived back in detox. A few days later, I got into the program. I got into the shelter and thought to myself, how did I end up here? What have I done with my life? I don't remember the exact moment, but God took the cravings away. Nothing about this program made sense though. The rules and guidelines were stupid. And then trudging through the middle of Raleigh for what seemed like miles to go sit in the classroom, I felt so alone and so ashamed until this one day, I started to trudge with a very special girl. We talked the whole way about our kids and our drinking and drug habits, only to realize, OMG, we're practically twins. We had the same story. I wasn't alone anymore. She became my very best friend and still is to this day. That's my ride or die, my #1 stunner. Before I completed Met 1, I ended up learning about my disease. I had some of the best peer mentors teaching our curriculum recovery dynamics. The education behind my addiction was a game changer. The step 1 breakdown made perfect sense. I am so grateful for the times that I had spent in the shelter. I started trusting Healing Transitions. I started trusting Mercedes and knew she genuinely loved me. She said stick with the winner. So until I realized her bark was bigger than her bite, I definitely listened and did what she asked of me. Once I made it out of the shelter, things got easier. I made it to CTR1 and worked closely with Gina Martin as a B&G trainee. I'm grateful for my time with her and the humbling experiences in that job position. All of a sudden, in March of 2020, here came COVID. The outside world had stopped and Healing Transitions changed the way everything was done. Looking back, I am grateful for what that had taught me. Life can change at any moment and I can stay sober through it. During that time, we all got close, including participants and staff. Going to visit and bother Sherry Van Detox would brighten her day and mine. The way this program is set up, the doors don't lock from the inside, so some of the girls left along the way. Luckily, the few I was super close with made a sober and conscious decision to stay. Some of them are here tonight. We found ways to have fun, and one of the most memorable was kickball on Saturday mornings. It was competitive. We definitely had some injuries and blood drawn. For some of us, we could invite our kids to play too. I will never forget one of the Saturdays my son Carter was dropped off by his grandma to surprise him. That moment was exactly what I needed to remind myself I was here for the right reason. I am grateful for the moments in the smoke cage. I will never forget. I will forever remember the genuine laughter I got back. I made it to CTR2 and I decided to go to the planning room with my best friends. Poor Miss Tracy for putting up with us. I'm grateful she was always laughing at us and not with us. The planning room gave me the pleasure to use what I was taught through the program to help other women new to sobriety. They all have the same story. I was able to tell them they were not alone. With what I had learned throughout the program, I was a sounding board for my younger sisters. And CTR2 being under Pacey House's watch was super intimidating. She always kept it 100, but she said everything out of love. I still lean on her a lot today. After remembering, it will all make sense one day. It actually does. This program is designed to perfection, from each guideline to where each staff member is placed. So thank you, Amanda Blue, for your smile and style. For always having our best interests at heart. Chris Budnick, thank you for the many lives you have helped and saved along the way and capturing every moment. Every staff member here deserves a medal. I owe HT for another chance at life. With completing this program, I was able to get a vehicle through Wheels for Hope. People trust me today. I have a career, I have a home of my own, and I have a relationship with my child that I only dreamed of 3.5 years ago. And I have my relationship back with Jesus. I brag about how incredible this place is to anyone who will listen. For the women and men in this program, never give up on yourself, give yourself a chance. You're a miracle. That's all I got.
As you have just seen, doubled as our in-house comedian, who prided himself in lifting the spirits of others around him by spreading laughter and, of course, making fun of staff. Madison Gerken did not have a smooth path through our program, but based on my experience, it is those who have the bumpiest path who sometimes experience the most positive growth. Madison first entered our program through our non-medical detox on September 2nd, 2018. Before entering the program, Madison spent over 3 months utilizing our emergency overnight services and entered the first portion of our program on January 14th, 2019. This was the beginning of Madison's bumpy path through our program. And because Madison's history with us was so extensive, like literally, I opened her file and immediately got frustrated. So I did the best I could with, coming up with a brief summary of, this assignment. Madison was oriented to Met One 10 separate times. Placed on our RDC list 4 times. Had 4 admissions to our detox center and wrote, y'all listen, and wrote over 38,500. She was also instantly placed on a ban from telling jokes for 4 days. Madison was also addressing attitudes and behaviors such as manipulation, entitlement, inconsideration, dishonesty, bad attitude. Madison completed a service commitment as a peer mentor against my better judgment. I just need to put that out there. And was able to transition to alumni status on December 31st, 2020. And that's not all. Madison was looked out of compliance due to some poor decision making. It had to do some additional work to get back into compliance as an alumni in good standing. Madison included suggestions from staff in the CPRT community and was voted back into compliance on January 26, 2023. I can truly say that Madison is the epitome of willingness. Despite the ups and downs that Madison experienced throughout the program, Madison has always been willing to look at his mistakes and make them right. And that is a true example of what a real role model in recovery looks like. All right, please help me welcome Jimmy transition from Madison.
I hope everybody knows who you are. I just want to take a few minutes to talk specifically to the participants who are here. A couple things that completely changed my life, that I still use today, that I learned here in these 4 walls. One being to be healthy. Please be healthy with each other. Love each other. I'm not talking about, can you help me get my med out? Can you help me do my chore? Like if you see somebody walking down the hall who looks lost, help them believe that they can stay sober. Help them believe that they can stay here another day. Help them be proud of themselves. Just help them stay here. Another one is be grateful. Like, please be grateful, not only to the staff and to each other, but like the support that you have. The people on the other side of that face phone don't have to answer the phone for us. You know, God knows we did enough damage when we got here. Anyone who answers the phone or who is willing to support you, please be grateful for them, you know, and especially this place. I don't know about anybody else. I've never gotten any sort of invoice or bill. And the only thing they ask of us is to stay sober and help this building run so the doors can stay open for the next person who needs help. Right. I love y'all. You know, I'm here all the time. I love it here. I'll tell anybody who will listen about this place. I have a job now that I love that I specifically got without any certificates or any schooling or anything, just because I have experience being an alcoholic. And I get to spend the entire day helping people come to a solution. I send people here. I get to like live my life helping people believe in themselves. And I learned to believe in myself here. And so I thank y'all for that. Thank you.
So the next alumni we would like to recognize is Ms. Liz Lovely.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. I was even gonna make. Level like, yeah, I was gonna say that I mispronounced her last name, like, the entire program. So Liz first engaged in services with us through our non-medical detox on September 20th, 2019. She was referred to us by a member of the recovery community. Liz transitioned from our detox to the first portion of our program, MET 1 on September 24th, 2019, but was discharged from our program on October 21st for a safety issue. Liz returned to our program October 28, 2019, and had a smooth path through our program in the midst of COVID-19. She entered CPR 1 on November 26th and CPR 2 on August 5th. While in these parts of the program, Liz was addressed on attitudes and behaviors such as broken commitment, not being a sister's keeper, bad attitude, can you imagine? Entitlement and not following through the process. She received suggestions from her peers such as 1,000 words, walk by faith, not by fear, 1,000 words, progress, not perfection, a 30-day guide box, and a writing on job and responsibility. Liz was able to transition into alumni status on January 10th, 2021. While in CTR 2, Liz completed a service commitment as a peer mentor and attended a total of 278 meetings and was engaged in our program a total of 334 days. Please help me welcome Healing Transitions alumni number 280, Liz.
I will never forget how I ended up at Healing Transitions. One Thursday night, I had finally had enough. I was so tired of living the way I was living. I'm a mom of 2 daughters, separated from my ex-husband, living with a man my dad's age. Sorry, Dad. I'd struggled with drugs and alcohol for years, and by that time, my alcoholism had consumed me. I couldn't go an hour without drinking before my body went into withdrawal. That Thursday night, I called my brother and then I called my dad. I knew if I called them and said I was done, I was going to have no choice other than to be done. I knew I couldn't detox alone, so I went to Duke Hospital and was admitted. It took 8 days for me to detox. My brother's wife knew a woman who knew of a place where I could go to get help. I was desperate, broken, sad, and scared. When I was discharged from the hospital, she picked me up and brought me to HT. That was a Friday afternoon. Since I couldn't enter the program on a weekend, I had to stay the weekend in detox. I had no clue what I was about to get into. I will never forget my first night in the shelter. I got my first set of 1,000 words because Mercedes saw me eating a Starburst on the top bunk. I was in the program and we had to trudge. I couldn't believe these people actually drop you off in a random place and make you walk to the women's center. They expected me to walk by an ABC store, convenience store, or grocery store, all where I could have gone in and gotten out. That was absolutely insane to me. I was quickly taught that you either want it or you don't. You'll eventually be able to see the ones that take it seriously. This is the point where I consciously started making a choice to stay sober. Each day I walked by that liquor store and I didn't go inside. I considered that a win. That was huge for me. I started setting small goals for myself. They couldn't be too big or I'd get overwhelmed, and I was afraid of failing. I already had well over a week sober, so my first goal was 30 days. In my head, I was giving myself 90, and then I'd be okay to leave because that's what I saw on intervention. So I'm sure 90 days it's gonna work. When 90 days came, I knew I was nowhere close to being ready to leave. I made a promise to myself. I wasn't going to leave until I knew I was ready and that I had gotten everything I could get out of this program. I had no intention on silver tipping. That wasn't the goal for me. My goal was to leave on my terms when I know I was ready. I'm a control freak. 6 months came and I was so proud. This place isn't easy by any stretch of the imagination. It's hard and it's work. I started to let these people love me until I could love myself. I started listening to other people. I started to work on myself and the relationships I destroyed. I started creating new relationships, and I still maintain some of those relationships today. I made my best friends in these walls. I surrounded myself with like-minded people, people that really wanted it as bad as I did. That's the key. Stick with the winners because people will drag you down with them. I started to create boundaries for myself. I started telling the truth. If I made a commitment, I stuck to it. Most importantly, I started helping other people. COVID hit and it changed everything. It flipped our worlds upside down. We were on lockdown, no one in, no one out. I had to do something before I went crazy. I was nervous, but I applied to be a kitchen trainee. That kitchen, Chef Teresa and Chef Mary changed my life. I found my sanity again. I'll never be able to thank them enough. We turned this place upside down during COVID. I'm surprised we didn't run out of food with all the cookouts and the parties. We even started a kickball game on Saturday mornings. Gina Martin, I still feel bad about hitting you in the face with that kickball. By that time, I'd made it so far in the program, I'd be a fool not to complete in Silvertip. But I had a choice. Should I take a 30-day commitment with Gina Martin and B&G so I could Silvertip quicker? Or should I take a 90-day commitment in the planning room with Miss Tracy, who scared the crap out of me, and give back in a different way? I chose the planning room, and I would be a peer mentor with my best friends. That planning room with Miss Tracy and Mr. Dickens changed my life too. I was really helping people and giving back like the people before did for me. I quickly got a job right after the planning room. The night before I was supposed to start my new job, I found out that the lady I picked up for a 12-step call tested positive for COVID, and I had to go into a 10-day quarantine. I was devastated because I was set back. I was in quarantine when Charlene petitioned out, but they were able to zoom me in. I started my job after quarantine and I'm still there today. I'm the call center manager and I'm part of the leadership team. I have my family back. I have my daughters back. I have a home and an amazing boyfriend. I've been sober for 3.5 years. Thank you for saving me, Chef Teresa, Mary, Casey, Miss Tracy, Mr. Dickens, Gina Martin, Amanda Blue, Chris Butnick, and Sherry Van for believing in me. I will never be able to repay my debt to this place. For me, I could choose to accept where I was and how I ended up here, or I could choose to be miserable and deny the help and love that was being offered to me. I chose to embrace it and make the best of it. I chose to have fun. I chose to learn and grow from it. I chose to let it help me make me a better person, and it did. Whenever you feel like you're ready to quit and leave, choose to stay just one more day, and one more day after that. Make that choice. I'm living proof that it can be done and that you can have a happy, beautiful life. Yay!
Okay, well, my name is Kathy Worley and I am the planning room team lead and also the Richard Number 3. The next young lady that we would like to recognize was referred to us by word of mouth. Jean White, first engaged in services with us on September. Fortunate of our program on September 20th, 2021, and made it to CTR1 on October 22nd, 2021. And finally, CTR2 on July 13th, 2022. While in CTR1 and CTR2, Jean was addressed on attitudes and behaviors such as inconsideration, not following community guidelines, doing nothing, and irresponsibility. She received suggestions from her peers, such as writings on where do I see God in my life, why my recovery is important to me, and a 30-day network log. While here, Jean struggled with having confidence in her abilities. She consistently insisted that she can't when it came to certain challenges. With a little encouraging and support, Jean decided to complete a service commitment in the planning room as a peer mentor. Because of that decision, Jean was able to transition to the Healing Place of New Hanover County to serve as a peer mentor there and assist them in their grand opening on their campus. Jean was able to move into alumni status on February 23rd, 2023. While engaged in our program, Jean attended 410 12-step meetings and was engaged in our program a total of 476 days. Please help me welcome Healing Transition to Lord Michael.
First of all, I like to thank God. Come on, girl. Because without God, I would not be here today. Things will not be the way that they are. In sobriety, I've learned so much about myself and what I was really capable of. I'm now living a life that I'm proud of. Let's go. 1.5 years ago, I was at my lowest point. It seemed as if my world was falling apart. I walked into those detox doors, not knowing what to expect. Along with the support of my family, I had to be honest with myself. So I started my journey to sobriety. Thanks to the support of Trillium for not leaving me behind. You gave me hope. Jamie Elks, shout out to you. No ways than one. It's Tracy. Casey House. And Kathy. Y'all are my real MVPs. All the staff and countless others, you loved me when I wouldn't or didn't love myself. Especially my sisters. And for that, I will eternally be grateful. Because without you, there would be no me. Sobriety has changed my life. I am able to help helping others. I'm happier and healthier than I ever been. God and HT gave me a cornerstone. Now I'm going to build on it.
On February 22nd, 2022, and she had a smooth path through our program, transitioning to CPR1 on March 30th, 2022. Sandra had a minor setback in the program where she was discharged from CTR1 due to a safety issue, but Sandra did the work by taking suggestions and quickly returned to NAV1 on October 25th, 2022, and CTR1 on November 3rd, 2022. On December the 14th, 2022, Sandra transitioned to CPR2, where she completed a service commitment in the planning room as the peer mentor. Sandra also was able to travel with Jean to the healing place of Vivian Over to be a part of their grand opening. We're also very proud of them both for being willing to be a part of that unique experience of serving as a peer mentor to assist in their grand opening. Sandra was able to transition to alumni status on February 23rd, 2023. While engaged in the program, Sandra was addressed on attitudes and behaviors, such as not being a sister's keeper, job irresponsibility, entitlement, inconsideration, and not following the community process. Sandra received community suggestions from her peers, such as 1K recovery is an inside job, a 30-day network log, a trust log with the CTR1 community, and 2K words on why the community guidelines apply to me. Sandra attended a total of 432 12-step meetings and was engaged in the program a total of 322 days. Please help me welcome Healing Transition.
First of all, I have to give all the credit to God. Without him, I wouldn't have the amazing life I have today.
Let's go.
February 2022, I walked through the doors of HT. I was damaged, empty, and alone. I was homeless, miserable. I had no hope, and I really wasn't sure I wanted to continue to do this thing we call life. Excuse me. I went straight into quarantine for 3 days. And my first day out just happened to be deep clean. What a joy that was. That night I called my son and begged him to come pick me up. I told him, I begged him to come pick me up because I was convinced HT was an undercover cult. And if scrubbing the toilets at 5:30 in the morning didn't kill me, then this will love you to love your scheme certainly would. I just didn't understand how women that didn't even know me could love me when I didn't love myself. I cried every day for the first 30 days. My favorite saying, and I'll keep it PG, I'm sick of this stuff. And I'm leaving. And every night for 30 nights, somebody would say to me, just sleep on it. 11 months later, I was still sleeping on it. It's right. But then something started to change. I was sitting in class, we were doing group session number 1 for what seemed like the 100th time. And then the light bulb went on. It was that moment when I realized that I wasn't just a screwed up, morally deficient person. I was actually sick with a disease. From that point on, everything changed. I let these ladies love me, and I started to believe that I could love myself. I got a sponsor who is amazing, who does not co-sign on my nonsense. And I started working the steps. But more importantly, I let the steps start working in me. Nobody could have told me that a year ago, my life would look like it does today. Today, I'm a woman that shows up. I'm a woman that is trustworthy, and I'm a woman of integrity. Yes. Healing transition saved my life in so many different ways. My HT family is and always will be a major part of my life and a part of my recovery. Today, I have the love and support of my children, my family in England, and all the amazing women that are inside of these walls. They continue to give me strength, love, hope, and encouragement every single day. I wouldn't be the woman I am today if I had never walked through these doors. And for that, I'm forever grateful.
You brought it tonight. Yeah, congratulations. You did good. So my name is Casey House. I'm a transition coordinator here at the Women's Campus. Also alumni number 144. So I have the opportunity to acknowledge the ladies who have completed or made it to CTR2. So they have completed the recovery dynamics portion of the program. They have gotten to the point where they're ready to start the transition piece into the community. Start to work on budgeting, open bank accounts, look for employment. They're doing commitments in our facility to give back, practice the working game again. These ladies have accomplished a whole lot.
But it's not over yet, and they got a little bit longer to go here. So tonight, what they're gonna get, is a marble, just one. Don't get one day. It's a long-standing tradition that we lost all of our marbles out there, so tonight, you ladies are in one bag. Okay? What's holding here is a bracelet, and what it says on it is she believes she could, so she did. And they're also gonna get a copy of their detox picture. Keep it in your wallet. Yeah, hope she never forget, okay? All right, so the first one that I'd like to recognize this afternoon is Miss Joy. All right. Next up is Sarah Crawford. Stephanie Delaney. I just gotta say, I'm really happy to have this lady because she has smiled at me every day. Miss Connie here. Oh.
I'm here because we wanna celebrate this lady. The first time I heard her name, I had to do some research, you know, because she was wanting to come into the program. And I told William Dickens, I was like, I don't know about this. I think we should say no. You know, we talk about denial of services, that was her. And we gave her a shot through the program, and Lord, she through the program as a participant, she gave me a run for my money. She was something else. And then we turned around and we hired her. That's right. And I think it was a great decision hiring this lady. Yeah. We were celebrating Captain Worley's 1 year of service. Yeah. This lady right here, her ability to connect and relate to the participant is above none I've ever seen. Like, and the passion that she has for this program, for the planning room, for the work that goes on in the planning room is amazing. And so I'm really proud of her and glad we have her here.
Coming full circle, because these two ladies sitting right here in the front that were silver shippers tonight, they probably don't even realize that how important it was to me. But when I came in the door, with my parents dragging me in the door, these were the first two ladies that I saw, and they were orientating me and to me at one. And I remember them laughing and smiling at each other and acting like they were having the best time in rehab. And so I said to myself, because I always like a challenge anyway, but I said, if they can do it, I can do it. And those that set the precedence right then for me to accept the challenge to try to get what I came for when I came here. But I never thought that this would ever happen to me. I never thought it's been one day in my life sober. I thought that I would be using until the day that I died, which the way I was going wasn't going to be very long. And I can't tell you what it means to me, because they did take a chance on me, and I have promised myself and everyone around that I was going to do everything I could to dedicate my life to giving back to the sick and suffering and those who need it, and trying to share a story of no matter how low you are, it can always change. You just have to have the willingness to do it, and you have to be willing to take the suggestions, and that's what I try to do. Dana, I know she's not here tonight, but I can't tell her enough how much I appreciate her taking a chance on me, because her eyes got this big when I was slamming in her office and said, I want to work here. And she was like, what? I said, this is my goal. This is what I've set out to do, and I want to work here. So tell me what I got to do. And I came up with that plan, and I never let that change me. Tracy, Casey, I don't even know what to say. DeCorva, this is the cool thing about working here. Like, I don't work here with just staff. Like, I work here with my friends, like my true friends that I know are here for me no matter what time it is, a text message, a phone call, like they are right there. And I know that if I ever need them, it don't matter where I am, they're coming with me. And it means the world to me to be a part of this organization, because it has saved my life. And I have a life today, and I'm a proud grandmother and a daughter once again, and I'm able to come here every day and work with you ladies. That's we encourage you to do the very same thing. Travis, I love you. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is anybody a little blue right now? I'm a little blue. What up, man?
Director of Programs, apparently I'm closing us out tonight. We got some traditions that we lost during COVID. Speaking of COVID, like tonight has brought back a lot of memories. Got to block out a lot of that stuff. The thing that I'm still really clear is like, I don't truly, honestly, have no idea how you would have made it through without you. Like, it wasn't just staff, participants, like rocks, amazing, and the comments. And then you do the same thing for people now. It's truly amazing. Couple of things that we get to do again, because we have ceremonies, are recognize alumni. A few of the ladies, I saw some faces here, but if I miss you, please let me know. Christine Lockwood celebrated 12 years. Wow, it's 9 years. Heather Elliott, 5 years. Karen Meadows, a year. Taylor Rosado also has a year. Karen Mulila, what's that word? Celebrated. And then lastly, we like to recognize alumni who come, continue to give support, eat food, celebrate with the ladies. If y'all are here tonight, come on up to the front if you finished the program between 2001 and 2005. 2006, 2008.
Yeah.
Thousand 10.
Yeah. 2014.
Twenty 2017. Oh, 2021. Yeah. And back. Please. Thank you to everybody. Thank you.